Back at it again. I was doing wiring in the last video. I'm also doing something wiring related, the MAF sensor, and I need an intake, you know, so can't start this thing without a MAF sensor. So we're jumping right back into wiring. Okay, so the intake is kind of sort of on, goes up to my air scoop out there. Good enough for a first start, and then I'm continuing on with all this. So I did some more securing, got the wire harness staying in a way, at least, ECU. This one's just to hold extra basically, but it's got to be hidden. I've got the igniter that I pulled out of the car. I forgot that one. I didn't know what it was, honestly, but I've got an OBD2 plugged into the OBD2 port, and we're gonna see if we have any life. All right, when I plugged the battery in, that came alive, which makes sense. There's probably power going in the right way. I'm gonna flip the key really quick to see if we can hear some relays. That's a good sign. I don't know if you could hear it on the video. Obviously the fans came on, but my fuel pump actually ran. So that's good, that's working. Let's do it again to see if we can get the OBD2 to read. So it's probably reading right now. I'm not smelling any burning yet, so that's a good sign. I unfortunately can't try to start it yet. The little wire that's supposed to go onto the starter actually popped off, so I have to pull the wheel off and get under there. And then also my O2 sensor isn't connected. The wires are too short, so I have to lengthen them. So I'll probably do that next. All right, so I lengthened my wires up to the connector for the O2 sensor. I ended up lengthening the O2 sensor wires, not the harness wires, which is kind of the wrong thing, but it was really hard. It would have been really hard for me to get up there to get to that connector and lengthen the wires, so this will do for now. This isn't the final route, obviously. That's just so I can do the first start. Also, I've got this wire that I'm going to try to prime the fuel pump with. All right, so I'll have power coming from the battery, from my little wire, going to the fuel pump wire from, you know, remember that we put it on the relay, so let's... It sounds the same as it did before, so maybe that'll do it. That's basically all I have to do to get it to run. So let's see if it works. The kid who sold me the car with this engine in it told me that the water pump was bad, so I replaced that with the water pump from that engine, and hopefully that fixes whatever problem he was having. I didn't really see anything wrong with the water pump, but I believed him and I just went through with it anyway. But when I pulled the timing belt off, there were no timing marks on the belt. I think it was worn out, so I had to replace the timing belt. So this is a brand new belt, just got done changing it, and I'm gonna make sure that this thing still starts, and I'm gonna actually, you know, see if it moves. So that would be concerning if I didn't know what we did with that battery. We borrowed the battery from this car to move the Baja out of this garage. We used it for the winch on Sam's trailer, so I think that's why we're kind of dead. We're gonna charge it up and see what happens. All right, I'm just tidying up a few little things tonight. I think I found a solution for my water pump bolt strippage. So this is one of the old ones. It's about a 40mm M6, I guess. The threads on the block are stripped out, but I did find that 1/4 inch screws are just a little bit bigger and the teeth tend to grab. So I'm gonna see if I can find some comparable in length. Obviously it's gonna be a bolt, but I'll see if those fit. I got one threaded in just to try it out, and it does thread in, and it threads in tight, so that's the vibe. Also, it's kind of hard to see, but I was working on the updated clampage on the coolant lines underneath. A couple things while I have the rear wheel off as well. I needed to figure out my bump stops. So the coilovers have been a really nice addition. Really stiffen things up. Plus, you can kind of see it. I've got an aftermarket sway bar in the back, which is also really helpful. But I need bump stops because I really don't want the oil pan slapping the ground. So I drilled a hole. That's gonna go there, and hopefully it won't ride on that. I might need to shorten this. I don't want to raise the rear just because I like how the car sits. Also, I've got this bracket that I'm working on for the vehicle speed sensor. I think I'm gonna put it on this stud here. Hard to see because it's dark. I think that's where I'm gonna put it, and I'm gonna run the wire up along with the starter solenoid wire, which is right above. Gosh, it's so dark. But look, there it is. So I got the vehicle speed sensor in on the other side, and I ran the other wire in with the starter wire. Kind of zip tied that all together just so it was nice. That ended up being kind of a pain, but we got it. I ran some extra grounds from the engine to the transmission to the body on this side. So hopefully we'll have a really good engine and, engine ground. I did also clamp up my reservoir tubing. So this is gonna go away. I've got another one that looks pretty much exactly like it, but it only has one outlet on the bottom, and this will connect to that, and then we'll be able to fill it with coolant. Okay, it's coolant night.
I'm cool.
He's cool. We're putting coolant in this formerly air-cooled Bug. It's probably gonna take maybe a little less than 5 gallons, but those are 2 jugs of oil. Don't worry about those. And then coolant. We've already got one, and then shows no sign of stopping.
My lens is so dirty.
Well, it moves, runs. That's a good sign.
You're welcome.
We're waiting for it to drink some more coolant. I can see the line here.
What's going on?
One of the reservoir lines split and was leaking. This line right down here split at the clamp.
We'll trust you.
Yeah, it split on the clamp, so we're gonna have to basically get some heftier hose and pull it off. Unfortunately, I did that when it was all out of the car, so we're just gonna have to figure it out. It takes the wind out of your sails.
Sweet.
Just finished sitting in that. As you can see, I'm filling with coolant. I've got my second iteration of reservoir piping kind of tidied up, and I'm gonna try to bleed it again and see what happens. I can't really tell if the thermostat is opening. It's kind of a toughie to figure out. I have pressure up at both radiators up front. Can't get hot water up to the front. You'd think that hot water from the engine would make it to the front. I did not have the same problem the last time I did this with EJ202. I don't know what the problem is. And then I realized my alternator wasn't charging, so now I have to charge it. See that? We got movement. We got movement. Pressure seepage. That's what that steam is. But I think we'll be fine. I'll get a different cap for that, and it should stop making that noise, hopefully. Turns out obsession pays off. It's really dark, so you can't really see, but I'm up on Skyline Parkway, above the city. Just finished up a test drive. I'm gonna get home. Things seem to be working all right, and what a riot to drive. Made it home safe. That's good. It's a really good first test drive. Everything really was working good. The alternator belt is squealing a little bit, so I gotta address that. But all things considered, it ran and drove pretty darn good. Not gonna lie, things aren't going very well. Drive the car around yesterday. I went on a full test drive. Everything seemed to be going really well. And then I tried to drive it to work today, and there must have been an air bubble that wasn't a problem yesterday, or something. I don't know what happened. So I did the reservoir delete over here. Hard to see, but but I got those tied off down there. This will remain empty and I will bleed the system from the front. New thermostat is coming in the mail, should be here tomorrow, and hopefully I can button this thing up. Thermostat came in the mail. I drilled my holes, maybe put too many in, but this thing is not going to stop me from burping the system this time. So new thermostat is in and siliconed that baby up, screwed it together, and now we wait for it to dry. I'll probably get back to it on Sunday. Making a weekend trip to International Falls, so we'll be out of town and I'll get back to this on Sunday. All right, so I've done a couple more iterations of my cooling system and I thought I got it working today, and I was able to do a test drive and I thought things were good, and things are not good. Let me kind of show you what's going on. I added a bung to the top of the crossover pipe on the motor just to help fill things up, add coolant as I need to, and I thought that helped. I thought we got everything filled up. I drove it today and I thought it was good. Things were not good, unfortunately. I did take a little clip just for the Facebook group asking questions. It appears that there is exhaust in my coolant system, which means bad head gaskets. Yeah, this is a major setback. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to actually drive this year, because that has to be done. I can't drive it like this. My dual radiator setup seems to be working really good, and while it was working, the thermostat restrictor plate seemed to work just fine as well. I cut out the middle of the thermostat and I put it in like that because I thought air was getting stuck there, so I got rid of that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I'm just gonna slowly work on the car. On the bright side, I did succeed in getting the motor in and running and driving, so that's good. The real hard work is kind of done, other than pulling the motor apart and replacing head gaskets. So either I'm gonna do that or I'll try to have someone do that. On the bright side, I did do some garage work today. So I got my wall trim in. Look at how nice that looks. I got my flip up table there by the window. Isn't that nice? I even put a trim on it. And then the plan is to cover the wall in something white. We'll see what happens. And don't worry about the rest of that. Or this, to be honest. Don't even look at it. I did get some lights up there on that 2x4 running across. I'm really happy with how the garage is starting to look, but we're still really far away from it being where I want it to be. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It wouldn't be so bad if it was a single overhead cam motor, but since it's a dual, it's gonna be bad. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do.